If you're thinking of getting a sewing machine, or you've just bought one and don't know how to use it, then this is a video for you. Hi, I'm Linda. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. This video is beginner's guide to give you the basics to get you started. The machine I'm going to show you is an industrial machine, but don't worry, everything I show you will be adapted to your domestic machine. If you're not sure, check your user manual. So what we have here is the needles for this machine, and again check your manual for your machine needles and it will tell you the manual description number, and you'll have a number on the needles to match them to. If you don't have needles, there should be a lift up little box or compartment in your sewing machine when it comes with manuals. There should be a packet of needles in there. If not, check your number from the machine and go online and get a pack of needles to suit the make of your model machine. These needles are actually round, and the only difference on these ones is it's a little bit of a flat blade here, but as you turn it over, there's a grid, you can see by here, there's a grid indentation that runs all the way down to the eye of the needle. Now we move on to the foot of the machine. I'll take mine off so I can actually show you what the standard foot looks like, because there'll be lots of different feet. This one is a little sort of two-pronged flat thing that just goes up and down like that, so that's quite normal. And you put that onto the machine. Mine's an industrial, so it just goes on there. And then you just tighten it up. And then what I've got is a lever here. I've got a manual lever, and that lifts the foot off the plate and back down onto the dog feed there. I've also got a knee press, but this is an industrial, so those of you who've got an industrial, as long as you keep that foot up out the way, you can then untwine the little thread here and it drops the needle out the way. If your foot is down, you'll find that you can't literally unscrew and get that to lift out of the screw hole. So do make sure, whether it's manual, knee press, you lift that up. My bobbin, to access it, is through this little cubby hole, which I'll show you. But on yours, it'll be a front panel if it's a domestic machine. It's normally got a little clear window, slide it across and you lift your bobbin out that way. This one is a little latch here. I put my hand underneath, raise your foot up, and then that's my bobbin feed. Right, so here's my empty bobbin. I'm going to show you what we do with this bobbin now to get the cotton onto it. I've got the industrial, I've got two feeds going on. Do make sure that your cottons are the same make and the same strength, because different strengths, different thicknesses will make a huge difference to your tension on your machine and give you a nasty stitch. So this one's a side feed, which I'll show you in a moment. On yours, it'll be a feed on the front or on the top, and you'll have one cotton. The cotton then gets taken from the needle thread and you pull it round to your bobbin thread with a little switch, wind it round, press the treadle, and because it's locked it off your main needle, it will automatically spin your bobbin, and that will be on your manual. Do remember on your threads as well that if you're going to machine something in particular with the cotton colour that's needed, make sure you use your bobbin with the same colour as the top thread. Right, I'm now going to turn the machine on, and you can hear the motor on this one because it's an industrial machine. So the bobbin comes around to this side, the cotton comes from my feed at the back here, and I'll spin it round and round a few times, and then I'll press that done, hold my back, take my cotton out, hold my back foot, and that's my thread half filled on the spool. So your bobbin case is clean inside, give it a puff. Any dust, any fluff will make a difference. Re-thread it, put it back in, and then I have to re-thread my needle. So now we're going to threadle a sewing machine. So now I'm going to show you all the cotton down here. Now this is going to be slightly different to yours on any machine, but the principles is follow your leader all the way around. So I always just twist it double up, down the first one, there's another hole here, up the second one, and then this little tension is the same sort of tension as here. You've got to go between these two plates here. So you've got to put the cotton in between the two plates, and then there's a little hole here. You go down that hole, and what that's going to do is keep this tension this way and keep it between these two plates. Alright, so then we've got to go down again this hole, 3 holes, up the centre one, down the third one. Might seem silly, but this is all adding to how their tension works on machines. Another plate here, which is a spring plate, similar to that one. So you go between the two plates. You see it going in? Come round, there's a little spring here, and you're actually going to go around that spring, come forward, like that, under here. That's, you can see that little spring jumping up and down. If I didn't come under this bar here, the spring is going to be pulled up and it will just break it. Then you're going to come through this little bit here. It's quite difficult, so it's through this bit. It's got a little slit at the back. You can threadle it if you prefer to, but there is a slit at the back so I can get that in. And then, if you see this bit here, this moves up and down with your needle, and there's an arm and a hole. You can see it there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to thread it through there with that little bar, and again you'll see the cotton coming up. There's a little spiral hole here, and you can actually do that around it, or you can thread it back down manually, but it was all designed to make it a lot easier. Then there's a little bar here, you can just see, and again it's got a split bar, so you come behind the back, it's better to do it that way, and it's in. So again, raise that all the way to the top, and we're going to threadle that needle. Always threadle left to right, never right to left. There's a little hole there, quite difficult to see sometimes, and if you can't get the succession of it, cut the thread again to get a nice sharp edge. And there's my cotton. So what you're seeing now is all of this moving. So as the machine foot is down, the tension clamps onto here, which clamps that tension to the cotton thread to the top, all the way up and down, round every spiral, every spring, every loop, down to your finished needle, back to the back of the foot, and you're ready to sew. This is going to be a few tools that we need to get you started. Obviously there's no rules, and we'll get more and more tools as we get more experienced. This is the first little snipper. Just cuts the cottons, which is very useful, and if you make a mistake on sewing, you can actually just literally just snip them. It's quite handy. You always need a rule. Measures centimetres or inches. There's no rules. Whatever suits you is better. Nice pair of scissors. I find these quite nice and lightweight because they're not too long, but again, if you're going to cut volumes of fabrics, you need the longer shank here, but these are quite nice little ones. These arm snippers, again, they're very good to just keep snipping little cottons around your work, because again, you haven't got to hold heavy scissors. Very, very interestingly good at all. These are extremely good. They're little sort of little pegs that you can peg your fabrics together if you've got 2 bits of fabric that you want to level up instead of using pins. So I find these very, very useful. So I've got loads of those. This tall magnetic plate, fantastic, because you can pick your pins up, you can drop them back on, and it makes it very, very easy to just have your pins rather than a box where you're stabbing your fingers. You know, this is really handy and the go-to. And that's it to get you started. So now we're just going to have a square piece of fabric, odd piece of fabric, anything just to do a little bit of practice to get your confidence with the sewing machine. This is quite fine, so even if I double it up and machine it, I can go over 4 times and machine it. So don't go too thick, but literally what you want to do is just practice going up and down, spin it round, up and down. So we're going to start this side, Don't worry about the edge and the actual levelness, because we're just going to practice what the machine does. Just get the feel of the treadle, how fast it goes, how slow it goes. Keep your fingers well away if you're very new, and you're just literally getting used to the feel of what it does. Get to the end. When you get to the end, make sure the needle's in, down into the fabric. Turn it round so it's not going to fly over. If I had the needle up and to do that, you know, your cottons are going to go. So just make sure the needle's down, pop that down. So running down to the end, always drop your needle in and then lift your foot, spin it round, drop it down, carry on to the end, drop the needle, lift the foot and spin it round. And then you want to practice the edge. So I've got a guide here, which I can push to the edge of my foot. You can put a run of tape down onto the machine. This is also quite handy, which if you haven't got a guide, little magnetic plate, and it's very, very good. And if I just drop it down, push it to where I need it, that's my guide to leaving the fabric on the edge. I want to join two pieces of fabric together and have a practice of running up and then down the sides, and literally go through two pieces of fabric, because that's mainly what you'll be doing when you're making things. It will eventually be two bits of fabric together. So you put them under the machine the same, and again just line them up here at the end. Just line up that edge. You've got your little magnetic in place. Drop the needle, come down, and there you can see we've actually got now something that I can turn through because we've joined it all together. So when the fabric's actually under and I drop my foot down, as I drop my needle and it's machining, those feed dogs are coming up and down and they're pulling the fabric away from you. Sometimes you have to grip here and pull and push, but the feed dogs literally do it on their own. As you can see, I don't have to do anything, and that's what guides your fabric through. If you want a simple project and move things forward for yourselves, do check out my video. So I hope you enjoyed that video today with me, and that it gives you a little bit more confidence to get to know your machine, whether it's domestic or industrial. They are quite a big bit of kit to get used to, but trust me, the more you practice on the little things, don't push yourself, the better it'll be.